here at the Hoover Museum in West Branch, Iowa, and I'm here with Spencer. He's going to give me a little tour about what you can learn about Hoover when you come to visit.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're in our main gallery, the Life of Hoover. It's the largest part of the museum, and we just follow through his life, starting as a young child in West Branch, some baby pictures, some artifacts from the time period, photos of his parents. He had sort of a tragic childhood. His father died when he was 6, and his mother died when he was 9. And he then left here permanently at the age of 11 to live with some relatives in Oregon.
And how long has the museum been here in West Branch?
The museum opened in 1962, was dedicated by Herbert Hoover near the end of his life.
So he came and was here and
Yes,
saw the whole...
yes. Well, he saw the first part of it. The part we're standing in wasn't built yet.
Okay, yes.
It was just a very small building at the east side of the building, and over the years, more was added on.
Fantastic.
After graduating from Stanford, he did get into the mining business, worked in the U.S. For a while, but then he was hired by a British company called Bewick Moring Company, and he was sent off to Australia to work in their gold mines. Did that for a couple of years, and we've kind of recreated him here as a young mining engineer at one of their properties. We have a variety of little artifacts related to his work in Australia.
That is awesome.
So I'm here with Bridget Nash, and we're at the Herbert Hoover Presidential Museum and Library. So now we're going to talk with the curator, and that's what you do, right?
I'm the education specialist.
The education specialist.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are we looking at here?
I just started these monthly programs. They're called Ask an Archivist, Converse with a Curator. So every month, either myself, a museum curator, or an archivist from the archives will have we'll be bringing out items from museum collections or the archival collections to share with the public. These are materials that aren't going to be on display because we have a lot in the back, so it's kind of a show and tell from what's in the back. So this month, of course, with it being Valentine's, I chose to bring out some of the Valentines that were sent to President Hoover during 1930, 1931, 32, 33, as well as some of the Valentines that were actually found by Leslie, the granddaughter of Herbert that Aaron just mentioned, in Lou's dresser. So these were ones for Lou, but they're not signed inside, so we're not sure if they're from Bert or, if they were from Bert and like a husband was just like, here's a card, and didn't sign it. So we're not sure, or perhaps she purchased them. Then you get with the Hoover as you start to see that transition, and it's really fun to look at the Valentines and see how they've gone from being homemade and really ornate and importing materials from Europe and and then even telegraphs from a chief of police and then you get to more of as you start getting into the manufacture of them where people are buying them in stores, so you start to see those more. And then even if, I don't know if you've ever heard of vinegar Valentines, but they're wickedly popular, like the early 1800s. So let's say you had somebody who you just didn't like, right? Or somebody liked you and you're like, I'm not interested. You would send them, and they were sent anonymously. They're called vinegar Valentines. They would be either like subtle jabs, or they could be just like downright nasty, and then they would be sent COD, so cash on delivery. So not only were you receiving this nasty Valentine, but you had to pay for it.
That's awesome.
And so this one here is kind of reminiscent of that was sent to Hoover. It's a little vinegarish, but it's like a little subtle jab to his fishing prowess. Like, hey, you say you go out and you fish, but you've never shown anything because your fish are too small, kind of a thing. But so it's really fun to kind of take a look at things of that time period, but also that are representative of different states and what people were actually sending the president of the United States at that time.
So Valentine's Day is obviously theme this month.
Yes.
And what's next month?
So next month, in honor of Lou's birthday, because again, that's going to be her 150th birthday, we are going to be bringing out some of Lou's fashion. We're going to be bringing out, because we have a bunch of her dresses, so we'll be bringing those out. And then the next month, April, will be flour sacks, because that ties into, we'll be doing a huge family day here on April 20th, the Eco Science Festival.
Okay.
So the park will be partnering with us, and we'll have a lot of family-friendly activities, including entomophagy. So we'll be introducing kids to eating bugs as a form of protein.
Yes, I'm sure they all need introduction to that.
And that ties to our thrift style, and again, to the flour sacks, the reuse of them, you know, the whole upcycling, recycling portion of it.
So we're gonna come up here on some lace, and it's very interesting, the story. So we're gonna hear a little bit of it, but maybe there's some things you wanna leave out or leave as a mystery. We'll let you decide.
Well, we've just skipped through his mining career,
So there you go. You have
which
to come
has,
to
has
that.
all sorts of interesting tidbits. But in 1914, of course, he was 40 years old, and World War I broke out. And he was, at that time, in London, the headquarters of his mining business, and he was recruited to help figure out the logistics of getting food into Belgium. Belgium was behind the German lines, and they were in desperate need of food. And how to coordinate between the British Army, British fleet, and the Germans, and all of the logistics. This was not a small task, and his organization, the Commission for Relief in Belgium, basically became the grocery store for the entire country for 5 years, and it catapulted him to worldwide fame. And so we've kind of highlighted some bits and pieces of that. The warehouse of flour. We have examples on exhibit. We rotate different ones that in and out of the exhibit of flour sacks that were decorated or used to make clothing or other artifacts, and then given back to him as a gift to thank him for the food that he got into Belgium. Also have this case of Belgian lace. So during the war, the Belgian lace industry attempted to keep going, and one of the things that they did during the war was to export it. The Germans would allow them to export the lace if the proceeds were only used for food. And so Mrs. Hoover and some of her acquaintances, both here in the United States and in London, basically arranged for these pieces of lace to be exported from Belgium and then sold around the world.
How awesome is that? And you said this is the coat of arms for all the allies in the war.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Okay, so there's going to be a huge shift in school programming here, and I'm
Okay.
really excited about that. So starting next fall. So right now, our school programming includes self-guided tours.
Okay.
And right now I'm designing different programmatic experiences for students. So they'll include hands-on activities, time spent, like one of them is going to be where in the world is Herbert Hoover, because he went all over the world. And so we're going to be working in different, you're going to be able to see the story of Hoover's life and presidency in the gallery. And using that as a backdrop, we're going to be pulling out some of those untold stories
Okay.
and working those in. So yeah, so I'm
Nice.
really excited about some of the programming that's coming out.
Well, tell me a little bit about the museum and how it came to be, and how you raise money, and how what's coming in the future.
Well, we're part of the National Archives and Records Administration. As a presidential library, we are, so we're part of the federal government. But the way that presidential libraries work, the museum exhibits are privately financed.
Okay.
So that means that any rebuilding or renovation or expansion of our museum, we have to have our foundation raise that money from private sources. And so right now our foundation is doing just that. They're in the middle of a capital campaign to raise money to renovate our main exhibit here. And while it looks great, it's more than 30 years old, and we think it's time for an upgrade and an update.
Yeah, that is really Interesting. So what can people do? How can they find out more about you guys? And where are you exactly? If you're not from Iowa or you're not from West Branch.
Well, we're very easy to get to. We're right off Interstate 80, just east of Iowa City at exit 254. And you literally just turn left and you're right here.
Yeah, it was pretty easy to find. GPS might not be as easy. Derek got a little lost, but that's okay.
It's pretty
They
hard to
took
get
him down
lost.
a trail. I think GPS took him down a trail.
That's too bad. Yeah, we're here. The museum's open 362 days a year. We're closed Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year. So anytime you want to stop in, the exhibit is open, and we'd love to see you.
Yeah.
Anyone who'd like to come.